There's a lot about Sarah and Tara that's exactly alike. They drink the same coffee, they have the same great job, and they both have a high-quality education. The only difference? Sarah spent her first 2 years at Carroll Community College, getting the same exceptional education, but at less than half the cost. So while Tara uses her paycheck to make student loan payments, Sarah can use hers for other things, like going out for coffee. Get started at carrollcc.edu.
Carroll Indoor Sports Center, celebrating its 30th season. 66,000 square feet of fields and courts. Rain or shine, multiple soccer and lacrosse leagues. Artificial turf fields and courts to rent. Party rooms and snack bar available. Summer camp for the kids. Safe indoor environment for athletes of all ages. Carroll Indoor Sports Center, your sport, anytime.
CMSportsNet is made possible by Carroll Links, Carroll Indoor Sports Center, and Independent Car Service. The Central Maryland Sports Network is a programming service of the Community Media Center.
Hi there, I'm Pat Stetzer, and welcome back to Game On. Another fall season is almost here, and it's time for the 2025 football season preview show. We've got you covered with all things Carroll County football. We'll take a look at each team as Week 1 approaches, plus we'll see what lies ahead this fall in the Carroll County Athletic League. Upcoming games, full schedules, interviews with coaches and players. Let's kick things off. It's Game On. We've got in-depth previews of each county team, and we'll begin with Westminster. The Owls want to defend their Carroll County title from last fall, and they're excited about their returns in 2025. Before we check in with them, let's take a look at their 2024 regular season results. The Owls overcame that 0-2 start to win 5 straight games and 7 out of 8 before finishing the year with 7 wins and playing in the second round of the regional playoffs. More on that in a little bit. The Owls know the rest of the county and much of the region is out to knock them off, but they're focusing on more than just the first 9 weeks of play. Time to dive deeper into Owls football. The excitement surrounding Westminster football's 2025 season may have taken hold at the end of last fall, with the prospect of double-digit players returning to a starting lineup that helped the Owls win another Carroll County Athletic League title. Ready to go. Westminster went 6-3 before winning a first-round playoff game, all coming after the team started 0-2. Now it's about raising the bar and going after an elusive state championship.
I think when you have this many guys coming back, the expectations are higher. You know, last year we had so many new starters and we were, kind of learning on the job. And I've told the kids a lot, we're out of excuses. We have experience, we have strength, we have size, we have speed. Now it's about doing everything we need to do day to day to put it together so that we can play at a consistently high level.
Like Coach Baz talked about, we're trying to get that talent to production this year. So, football's a production-based sport, and that's what we got to look for this year.
Rory O'Connor finished second in the county last season with 1,751 passing yards, and he added 16 touchdowns. O'Connor gets his top pass catcher back in the form of fellow senior Braden Troop, plus scoring threats in the backfield with junior Kason Doan and senior Jack Hitchcock. Troop and Hitchcock are dealing with some injuries during the preseason, but Coach Chris Bassler expects them back in time for the regular season. And when they return, they should have the luxury of being protected by Westminster's big offensive line.
Yeah, our chemistry on the field is unmatched. I haven't got Dunn on my side. It's a lot more easier to block, and Christian Tripoli brings the energy, the funness to the O-line, and it's just an amazing feeling to block, especially when you have an amazing running back like Jack Hitchcock.
I think the way we want to play requires us to be good at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, and to have as many guys coming back that have played and guys that have really gotten after in the weight room, and we're starting to see it out here at the practice field, and it's just about building and trying to peak at the right time.
Linebacker Gabe Lee led the county in tackles, and Isaiah Taylor posted 10 sacks, also a CCAL best. Both of them are back to help run an Owls defense that allowed less than 18 points per game.
Yeah, I love defense, just the physical aspect of it, just being able to just punish the other team, just not letting them get any yards, stuff like that.
Westminster opens the year September 5th at home against Franklin, and they have Urbana and Damascus as their other non-CCAL opponents along the way. Expect the Owls to flex their muscle and give their playmakers room to roam this fall. It's got Bassler and his men plenty pumped heading into the new season.
We can go beyond the limit, to be honest. We are a very great team, very disciplined. I think when it actually comes down to it,
The goal of this team is to turn talent into production. You know, we can be as talented as we want, but if we don't perform on Friday nights, then it doesn't matter.
One, two, three. Energy.
Another challenging start to the 2025 season, Westminster hosting Franklin and Urbana in the first 2 weeks, and a road clash at Damascus set for Week 7. The Owls get Century at home in their Carroll County opener, September 19th. Players to watch for the Owls, we have quarterback Rory O'Connor back for his senior year. Jack Hitchcock and Braden Troop are also back after they shined as juniors. Hitchcock led the county in rushing in 2024. Next up is Century. The Knights also had to overcome adversity last fall, and 3 separate times they faced losing records before finishing at 500. Let's check out their 2024 regular season. 5 wins in 7 weeks helped Century post a winning record going into the playoffs, and you can see that 4-2 record against Carroll teams highlighted by that thrilling win against rival Liberty. The Knights didn't like how their season ended despite the success in the regular season, and they're determined to make another stride toward getting the program back on track. One year ago, Coach Dave Ferguson and the Century Knights football players charted out their goals. At the top of the list were 3 big ones: a winning record during the regular season, reclaiming the Freedom Bell Trophy from rival Liberty, and hosting a playoff game. Century achieved all 3 before coming up short in the playoffs against Francis Scott Key. And that's all the motivation the Knights will need entering 2025.
So last year, again, was a building block. We knew that we knew what we had talent-wise, but it's those missing pieces. It's that attitude, it's that effort, it's that family, it's that bond. So we got it last year, and it's continuing on, and it's growing.
We're going to take more opponents more seriously now that we know we can win and take the advantage over them. And we think about those games a lot, but we put them behind us and learn from them.
Senior quarterback Jake Dexter, one of the Knights' captains, is back after throwing for 7 touchdowns and more than 1,300 yards. Dexter completed more than 60% of his passes and has plenty of weapons on offense, led by junior wideout Will Koenig.
You know, we lost some guys on the offensive side, but I think we're just coming back together with our chemistry we have, and we're going to build off of that and just become better.
Koenig had the 2nd most catches in the CCAL last fall with 40, and he finished with 438 receiving yards. He scored 6 touchdowns and added 4 field goals and 17 extra points to post 62 points overall, 4th best in Carroll County. The Knights went 4-2 against county teams and took down Liberty in Week 9, 24-23, to secure the coveted Freedom Bell Trophy heading into the playoffs. The win helped Century play another game at home the following week, but FSK came to Eldersburg and shocked the Knights in a 34-0 shutout. A sour finish to an otherwise exciting fall season.
Our last game definitely left a bitter taste in our mouth, and we're just ready to go out there and get back at it, be at the top of the county.
Century hits the road in Week 1 against South Hagerstown, and the Rebels eked out a win in last year's opener before the Knights regrouped after an 0-2 start. Ferguson says last year's success was only the beginning.
We're moving forward, right? So last year we set certain goals, expectations. We changed a little bit on what we had this year. We're going for a little bit higher, right? And the thing about it is we finally showed you could, right? Believe. And they proved it last year. We're going to take that and see how far we can go this year. Big thing. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. We want to compete. That's what we want.
The Knights get their first county test in Week 3 against reigning champion Westminster, and they'll try to avenge their season-opening loss to South Hagerstown from last year when the Rebels host them in Week 1. And this year's Freedom Bell game is at Liberty in Week 9. 3 Century players to watch now: returning QB Jake Dexter ready to lead the offense, and he has top receiver Will Koenig back in the fold. Jake Odelius had 44 tackles and 4 for loss in 2024. Up next, we have Liberty. The Lions also got past an 0-2 start and were the last Carroll team standing after they made it to the state quarterfinals. What are they planning for an encore? We're about to find out. First, a quick look back. Last fall, the Lions rebounded from their tough start to win 5 of 6 games and get into position to win the county title, and then they took down South Carroll and Williamsport in the playoffs to secure that Elite 8 spot. Let's check in with Liberty now and find out how the Lions are replacing those graduated standouts in time for the new season. Liberty finished the 2024 football season as the last Carroll County team standing after the Lions made it to the Class 2A 1A state quarterfinals. They went 7-5 and 2-1 in the playoffs, led by a talented cast and reigning CMSportsNet Player of the Year, Tristan West. Many pieces of that cast graduated, West included, and now the Lions are back to establish a new identity.
Really, that process of finding out what are you good at, what have you done. You know, we don't return an experienced quarterback, so Sean is going to be put in a position where you know, he's got to find out who he is and not try to be what we've been in the past, and make completions and make plays as they come to him and not force them. I don't think we're going to throw the ball at the rate we have in the past, 7 years, and we've been really blessed. But he's a great athlete, and we're hoping we find some things that he's really successful at and he believes in and can lead the team to do.
Longtime coach Larry Luth was talking about senior Sean Case, who has the mission of replacing standout quarterback Chase Miller. Miller led the county with 2,005 passing yards and 21 touchdowns, while West hauled in 56 catches for 936 yards and 10 TDs. Case has a new cast to throw to now, and he gets some help in the backfield from junior Tyson Puckett. Puckett went for more than 200 rushing yards, and he scored 3 times in Liberty's thrilling playoff win at Williamsport that sent the Lions into the state quarters. And Liberty's defense should have its share of talent too after allowing less than 20 points per game in 2024.
We're returning 9 of 11 since we had last year, and that's huge. Our chemistry is really there. Speaking from an offensive perspective, we're installing some new offensive plays. We have Ben Agostino back, who used to be a very good coach for us, and he's back now. So defensively, though, we're very put together, very much so clicking on all cylinders. So
I think that our defense has incredible chemistry. I mean, a lot of us have played together since we were like 6 years old. Like me and Kevin, I've known Kevin my whole life, Steven my whole life. And that chemistry, I mean, it can't really be stopped. We're going to be good on defense this year. I think everybody knows that. And I also just have a lot of faith in the offense as well, for sure.
Liberty brings back its top 2 defenders in Kevin Kern and Charlie Frothingham, who combined for close to 200 tackles. Frothingham had 2 INTs, and Kern had a pick 6 in that playoff win over the Wildcats. But it's a new year. The Lions kick things off September 5th at home against Walkersville. Time for that new identity to kick in.
If the leaders show confidence and belief, the rest of the team follows through. We return a lot there, and that allows us to kind of focus and try to figure out who we are offensively, because we kind of know who we are going to be defensively.
Liberty has 4 home games this fall and goes on a 3-week road trip late in the regular season. Week 1 at home against Walkersville is a likely early challenge. Liberty's players to watch: senior Max Grosslinger should help anchor the line, and he's the Lions' long snapper as well. Kevin Kern leads the middle of the defense, and Sean Case is taking over at quarterback. Up next, we have South Carroll. Consistency is the key this season, with the Cavaliers trying to right their ship after a rocky 2024. Check out the Cavs' results from last year and you'll see what I mean. A win followed by back-to-back losses 2 times during the season, but SC had 3 county wins, including an overtime dub against Liberty. The Cavaliers don't have the numbers of seasons past. That's not about to become an excuse from the coaches and players in Winfield. Depth is not on South Carroll's side this fall, as the Cavaliers entered the preseason with less than 30 players on varsity. But the latest addition in Winfield isn't about to let a smaller roster define their 2025 season. Optimists may look at the low numbers as a chance for just about everyone to get their share of playing time on the field, with reps aplenty during practice.
Yeah, I also think of it as everyone's more conditioned that way. Since you got to play, a lot of people are playing both ways, and the backups, they got to give us some breaks. Everyone gets to play. Everyone has to condition better. Everyone has to be ready to play both sides and play even longer.
South Carroll brings back its top pass catcher from last year in the form of Jake Miller. The second-team All-County receiver hauled in 19 passes for 271 yards, and he averaged more than 14 yards per catch. Gone is quarterback Caleb Evans, and Coach Mike Crumley said Braden Mazalewski is competing for the position ahead of the season opener against Glenelg.
I'm very excited. I have faith in my quarterback. I've been working with him all off-season. He has had that natural quarterback connection. He's grown up being a quarterback his whole life, and I just think he's going to succeed in our offense. This year I feel like we need a lot more turnovers. We need a lot more picks, forced fumbles, and just getting to the quarterback. Because our identity on defense is we're going to get to that quarterback, we're going to blitz, and that's exactly what we want to do this year.
The Cavaliers also return Anthony Rodriguez, who ran for more than 700 yards and scored 3 touchdowns out of SC's backfield. Rodriguez said he knows what the Cavaliers need to do to improve on their 4-6 record from a year ago.
Definitely scoring a lot more points. I think that affects our games very well. Defense does great. Offense, we got to pick it up this year because it can't just be a defensive game.
South Carroll allowed close to 20 points per game last fall and graduated its top tackler in Manny Rodriguez. But the Cavs bring back Mazalewski and his 4 interceptions as well. Mazalewski added 60-plus tackles and a sack on defense. Crumley heads into his 3rd season at South Carroll, trying to inch closer to a 500 record as coach. And he said the Cavaliers are striving for better than what they achieved in 2024.
Certainly picking up where we left off, because we did start off a little bit slow last year. We were up and down all season long, so it's finding that consistency. We felt like we had that going into the postseason, ran into a bit of a buzzsaw with Liberty in the playoffs, but it's just maintaining the consistency and the momentum that we had at the end of the season.
Parker Field is the site of SC's Week 1 matchup with Glenelg, and followed that with a road game at Walkersville. The rematch of that overtime win against Liberty is set for Week 3 in Eldersburg. All right, let's see some South Carroll players to watch. Braden Mazalewski should be the starting QB for South Carroll. He'll have Jake Miller back there as a big target. He also has Anthony Rodriguez coming out of the backfield as well. Now we head over to Francis Scott Key, where the Eagles put together a winning season last fall, and they return a solid core of players from a team that dominated on the road in the playoffs against a county foe. FSK opened the 2024 season with a 3-0 record, but struggled in the CCAL at 2-4. 2 of those losses were by 7 points or fewer, however, and the Eagles blanked Century, like I said, in their regional playoff matchup. Key has some carryover confidence from a year ago, and the Eagles are determined to fly higher with the same attitude in 2025. Francis Scott Key went from 1 win in 2023 to a winning record in 2024, and the Eagles want that trend to keep going in a positive direction. To get there, FSK has an idea of what needs to be done in order to post more victories in 2025.
Everything's going pretty good. I mean, we still have a lot of fine-tuning to do. The excitement, they'll jump off sides and stuff, so we're just trying to remain dedicated, but also in control of everything that we can control. You know what I'm saying? Because that's going to help us against Smithsburg and this great county of teams that we face.
Honestly, I think it's been really great. We've really, took what we did last year and kind of used some of the things that helped us win last year and took some of the things that maybe caused us to lose some games last year and tried to fix those to make sure we're able to come out. The goal is to win every game, so that's what we've been working on.
Francis Scott Key opened last fall at 3-0 and finished 6-5, perhaps posting its signature win in Week 1 of the regional playoffs when the Eagles went to Century and left Eldersburg with a 34-0 shutout against its county rival. And Key returns several players from that squad. Perhaps leading the way is junior quarterback Jacob Etzler, who threw for the 3rd most yards and 2nd most touchdowns in the Carroll County Athletic League last season.
It's been good. We look good so far. Definitely the anticipation helps us, I would say. We're excited. We're ready to go, and I think we went from 1-9 to 6-5 last year, and we put us on the map. So now people are ready for us. but I don't think it'll matter. I think we'll be good.
The Eagles look to replace their top rusher from a year ago as Jermaine Dawson graduated this spring. But they bring back senior Chase Raplogle, who led the team with 22 receptions. He also led the team in tackles with 86 and had a pair of INTs. Raplogle said the defense is working to cut down on mistakes in order to help the team win.
It's huge emphasis because, when I was here, varsity as a sophomore, that was a huge problem for us. Last year, we got better. I think it was still a problem. So we've really just put a lot of emphasis on trying to get rid of that completely. That's the goal, because if we don't beat ourselves, I feel like we're able to, beat anything we play.
Francis Scott Key opens on the road against Smithsburg and has 2 away games in the first 3 weeks. Getting off to another strong start is the main mission.
There's a lot of pride on it. We definitely got a lot better last year, but we don't want that to be the end of it. We're going to keep rising, keep getting better, and really just bring a lot of wins to FSK.
That's what I tell them all the time. I'm like, yeah, we were 6-5 last year, but we're not satisfied with 6-5. That's just, we just chipped the iceberg. Now we got to get past that, get the 5 down lower, and get the 6 up higher. That's what we say every day.
The Eagles open on the road against Smithsburg, and they have 2 road games in the first 3 weeks. But that's followed by 3 straight home games and Carroll County matchups against Winters Mill and Liberty in that stretch. Now we have some players to watch for FSK. Jacob Etzler getting set for his junior year as the Eagles signal caller. George Taku is certainly a playmaker, and Chase Raplogle had a pair of interceptions in 2024. Time to check in with Winters Mill, where the Falcons failed to capitalize on their historic season from back in 2023. The Falcons want to prove that last fall was just a blip. Big Mill slumped through an 0-5 start and found it hard to recover. The Falcons did clip South Carroll and Man Valley in Carroll County play. Longtime coach Matt Miller has more depth this fall than in recent seasons, and he's hoping that becomes a strength for Winters Mill in 2025. Matt Miller looks around the practice fields at Winters Mill High School, and the coach sees more players in uniform than the Falcons had in 2024. A reason to rejoice, but Miller knows it'll take more than just numbers to get Big Mill back on track after a 2-8 record last fall. That's 1 year removed from a 9-win season and a spot in the state playoffs.
2 years ago was a lot of fun, really came together in a big way. And last year we lost a lot of guys, the seniors that we had. We loved them. They came out, went to work each day, and hopefully those younger guys who are on that special team, that they can take that experience and pass it on. Obviously the way the regions are set up and the playoffs are set up, a lot of those state level goals are obtainable, but it's a lot of hard games ahead of us.
The change in attitude from last year is huge. I was on the varsity team when we went that one season 9-2, and I'd almost say our attitude's better than that year. Everybody on this team is just willing to step up, make the play from the team, and I say it a lot, but we're just a team of leaders.
The Falcons return quarterback Austin Denning, who put together a huge game last year in a win over Manchester Valley, in which the then sophomore threw for 3 touchdowns, ran for 2 more, and had an INT on defense. Denning finished with close to 400 rushing yards, and he passed for 849 more, and he tossed 9 TDs.
I hope his game continues to progress. He's a super smart kid. He gets everything that we do very quickly. Hopefully he can obviously improve. If his numbers improve, we'll be better as a team, but I hope he continues to operate within the offense and continue that mastery of the offense, because his potential is through the roof.
I'm really excited. This year his balls have been looking great. He's making great reads on run plays and just really finding those guys to hit on pass plays, so I'm really excited.
Winters Mill also brings back leading rusher Jarrell Baker, who churned out 630 yards on the ground and scored 7 touchdowns. Senior linebacker Ezzy Poutre had 72.5 tackles and 2 sacks in 2024, and he's back to help anchor Big Mill's defense. Winters Mill opens the new season at home against Poolsville, but a 4-week road trip is up next when the Falcons return home more than a month later. This year's leaders are determined to put the 2024 season far behind them.
Last year, our real issue was just we couldn't really handle adversity. That first game we lost just totally killed our attitude. We were a lot weaker in practice and all that. But this year, we're already looking a lot stronger, and I feel like this is a good group of guys that, can lead each other, hold each other accountable, and fight through those moments of adversity.
On paper, the early stages of the season could bode well for Winters Mill. Poolsville, Watkins Mill, and Centennial had a combined 1 win in all of 2024. Falcons players to watch now. We've got another returning quarterback in Austin Denning. Jarrell Baker was Big Mill's lead back last fall. He's also back, along with fellow running back Luke Phillips, in the fold again in 2025. Let's finish up our team-by-team previews with Manchester Valley, which also struggled during the 2024 year, but competed in a few of those close losses. And the Mavericks want to start stronger this fall for sure. Some of those close losses are on the board here. The Mavericks held their own against Liberty, Westminster, and Williamsport, despite falling short. The Mavericks have their share of new faces on the field as they get set for their program's 17th football season, starting in Week 1. Manchester Valley's returning players want nothing more than to forget about the 2024 season, one that saw the Mavericks lose 7 of their final 8 games. But many of those same players can check the results and see Man Valley lost 5 of those games by a mere 2 scores and 4 of them by 7 points or fewer. And that's cause enough for optimism.
We definitely want to show people Manchester Valley, we've had some good teams in the past. A couple years ago we made a decent run. Last year wasn't how we wanted it to be, a lot of close losses, but this year we're ready to bounce back. I think it'll be a lot better.
The Mavericks are replacing several key spots from the last few years, but senior Colton Nunn is set to help anchor the offensive line and open up holes for senior Connor Stack, who returns to leading Man Valley with 565 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns, and an eye-popping 11.1 yards per carry. Stack also posted 34 tackles on defense, and that Mavericks unit gets help in the backfield from Walter Salee and his 3 interceptions. Stack said Man Valley started getting prepared for the new season as soon as possible.
Over the summer, we had practices for 7-on-7, and they were stressing teamwork and friendship with everyone else. And like you said, in the weight room, we take that very seriously, and we try to work out strong together, push each other, and it just helps overall with the football team.
It's a new season. It's different than last year. Got a lot of guys coming up who are, good playmakers, and I think that we do have a legitimate shot to do good stuff in the county, and then in our region, I think that we do have a good shot this year.
Man Valley welcomes Hereford in for Week 1, the season opener at home, and the Mavs visit North Hagerstown the following week. The Hubs are one of Man Valley's 2 victories in 2024. Bernie Kuntz, now in his 8th season as head coach, said it's a work in progress, but the Mavericks are ready to compete and get back on track.
We got some positions that are kind of wide open for things. We got some key returners back. Connor Stack, John Day, Walter Salee, Colton Nunn, to mention a few that saw significant times on both sides of the ball last year. But we got a lot of things that we got to shore up at different positions, backer, O-line, things like that. Lost a good offensive line from last year that was pretty experienced. So got some places to fill in there, but we got some good guys that are working hard to try to fill that void.
We did lose a lot of linemen, but as you know, Chris Sanchez, we're coming back. We'll make it work.
What we got going here could be very good. I like our odds.
Manchester Valley opens at home against Hereford, and the Mavericks head to Hagerstown in Week 2 to try to knock off the Hubs for the 2nd time in as many years. FSK comes to Manchester for the county opener in Week 3. Players to watch for the Mavericks: Connor Stack was the Mavs' top rusher last fall. He's coming back in 2025, along with Walter Salee as a receiver and defensive back. Bo Snell should be Man Valley's quarterback. Before we go, let's check out the playoff results from all the Carroll County teams from 2024. Class 2A 1A is first. FSK and Liberty with first-round wins, and the Lions, like we mentioned, advanced to the state quarterfinals by beating Williamsport on the road. Frederick Douglass ended Liberty's season at 7-4. And in Class 3A now, Westminster got past the first round in the West region, but Linganore stopped the Owls in round 2. The Lancers made it all the way to the 3A state title game. And there you have it, a look at all 7 Carroll County football teams as they prepare to kick off the 2025 season. Everyone at CMSportsNet is excited to bring you all the biggest moments and top plays throughout the upcoming year. As always, we've got you covered. We've got plans to bring you live coverage of all the Week 1 football games that take place at the Carroll County schools. 5 of them are on tap from around the county at Liberty, Manchester Valley, South Carroll, Westminster, and Winters Mill. Stay tuned for more information as we get closer to kickoff. And that will do it for the football season preview show episode of Game On. As always, we thank you for watching. Be sure to catch all of our high school sports content online on Facebook and YouTube, as well as visiting our website at CMSportsNet.com. You can watch us on cable channels 18 and HD 1072, and be sure to follow us on Instagram at CMSportsNet Action. Thanks again, everyone. We'll see you next time.
CMSportsNet is made possible by Carroll Links, Carroll Indoor Sports Center, and Independent Car Service.
There's a lot about Sarah and Tara that's exactly alike. They drink the same coffee, they have the same great job, and they both have a high-quality education. The only difference? Sarah spent her first 2 years at Carroll Community College, getting the same exceptional education, but at less than half the cost. So while Tara uses her paycheck to make student loan payments, Sarah can use hers for other things, like going out for coffee. Get started at carrollcc.edu.
Carroll Indoor Sports Center, celebrating its 30th season. 66,000 square feet of fields and courts. Rain or shine, multiple soccer and lacrosse leagues. Artificial turf fields and courts to rent. Party rooms and snack bar available. Summer camp for the kids. Safe indoor environment for athletes of all ages. Carroll Indoor Sports Center. Your sport, anytime.